I am Yvonne Mason, one of your hosts for
And I'm Mary Brotherton.
all things books and publishing. And it has been a week.
I live in this perpetual state of shock and awe, folks. Every time I turn around, Yvonne's texting, emailing, or calling and saying, "Guess what I've done for you today?" And I cannot praise her enough. She is doing God's work. And I know some people might think, well, you're just writing books. But we had a conversation about that yesterday.
We did.
About how we were put here on this earth to serve one another. And Yvonne is doing such a magnificent job. And I just jump right in. I don't care. And that's how we do this show. When Mary's on
When Mary's on a high, we just let
to
Mary
run.
run with it. Just run with it.
But no, Yvonne and I were talking about how we both feel called to serve our fellow humans and dogs
Well,
and
some
cats
of
and
them.
horses too. But a lot of people think that when you're serving, you must be working on a church committee, or you need to be in the choir, or you need to be doing some kind of charitable work. You need to be working for an organization. That's not true. And I learned this the hard way many, many, many years ago. I was sniping at someone at church, and the pastor overheard me. And he was a very sweet, gentle man, but he pretended to be stern. He came up to me and goes, "I heard that. I would like for you to perform an act of charity between now and next Sunday." And I'm like, "Okay." Well, what I did was I volunteered to work in the church nursery. Everybody knows that I did not like doing that. That was the most charitable thing I could think of. So when he saw my name on the nursery sign up, he came to me and goes, "That's not what I had in mind. I thought maybe you let somebody out in traffic, or you let somebody go in front of you in the grocery store." He said, "You don't have to be a martyr to do an act of charity." And Yvonne's big act of charity is to do what she does with Midnight Publishing. And now, how many authors do we have? 24?
20.
20.
I'm still waiting on Dale and your people.
Yeah, my people are slow.
Oh, well.
I
They'll
keep
get here.
nagging. I try not to be a nag, but I do keep gently reminding them. We're waiting. And I know we're waiting on Tara.
We're waiting
Harkness.
on Tara, and we're waiting
Yeah.
on a girl down in Fort Pierce who started on her father's book.
Oh,
And
I
Tara
know
needs
it's hard.
Tara needs our encouragement because she says, "Yvonne, I've had a walk." Now, ladies and gentlemen, what Tara is wanting to do is write a children's book about fairies and start off with the beginning readers, the little ones, and then eventually take it on up to YA. Sometimes we get too much in our heads and we just don't let the creative juices flow. And it doesn't mean you have to write every day. We as writers are always creating in our heads.
Whether we're thinking about our books or researching or maybe just talking to somebody, we're still writing in our heads.
I was up at midnight working until 3 this morning.
I had an idea for Tara.
Shoot it over to her.
No, I can't. It involves you.
Oh, never mind then.
Create a mock-up of her book.
That's a good
Cover.
idea. Yeah.
Create a mock-up of her book cover. And even if you don't know the name of the book yet, you can just have the picture of the fairy on the front and title it Tara's book, title to be determined, work in progress.
Work in pro. I can also do a short for.
Yes. and send it to her, that's going to kick the juices up. That's going to make her, it's going to make her feel good about herself and about
Yes.
her book. And
Yes.
I can tell you, I mean, Yvonne, you already know everything about me, I think. But I, my very first book that I ever published was called Go With Angels. And I need to get that book over to Yvonne. There are a lot of reasons I haven't yet, but I'll deal with that later. That book was 40 years in the making because I started collecting stories. I had journal entries. These were all true stories, things that happened to me, my children, or really good friends, where angels intervened. Or, I mean, apparently my children, I don't know if they had a death wish or they were just living life to the fullest, but they were in and out of the emergency room so much as teenagers. And there were times that people would look at them and look at the accident that they lived through and say, how did they live? Why are they still here? And angels don't always come through in life or death situations or near-death experiences. Sometimes angels just come through in moments of foolishness, which is why I wrote Faith and Folly. We make foolish decisions, or we make decisions based on foolish ideas. And if we're fortunate, the angels are there to help us. I mean, how many people don't have a story or a book's worth of stories of things they've done in their life? Maybe they regret them, maybe they don't, but maybe they're, if you look hard enough, you see, wow, that I didn't know there was an angel there, but something came through and saved me from myself. So I worked on that book, and I remember I wrote a book prior to that I've got to find. It's called the Book of Hugs or something. It's way before we had the internet. I mean, nowadays you just click a button and you send somebody a little hug emoji. But I started writing descriptive hugs ages ago. And I actually sent it to someone who said, I'd love to read her book. He was a friend of my sister's, and she was so busy bragging on my writing. And so this guy said, I'd like to read her book. And he was shocked that it wasn't a memoir. He said, most people write memoirs before they write anything else. My book, If I Could Be a Mermaid, has been on my computer for 35 years. The World's Best Grandfather's been on my computer for 15 years. So people are always writing something. It might be an email. I could go, in fact, I intend to, at some point, go through my emails with my best friend. She and I have been exchanging emails for more than, I started saying more than 50 years, but emails haven't been out that long. Since I moved to Atlanta, 25 years, and we talk about the little things our husbands do that irritate us, or the little things that we do that irritate them. And we want to call this book Morning Irritations, because they always happen in the morning, set the stage for the whole day. But there are a lot of hidden jewels in our emails that we write to each other. And if you don't know how to write a book, please reach out to me. I am not bragging, but I'm stating what is true. People call me the book midwife. Dale, that we mentioned him a minute ago. He told me one day, when the day we met, he saw my books and he was impressed, and he said, I want to write a book one day. I've got an idea. And I said, well, tell me about it. And that's all it takes sometimes, is for you to share your idea with one other person and for them to say, that's a good idea. Or for them to shoot it down, and then you write it in spite of them. I don't know how many books I've got started that I've written because somebody said, oh, that would never fly. And I'm working on it to fly like the little monkeys, fly, my pretties, fly.
Well, the thing is like Mary said, my first book hand wrote in the 1970s when my children were small. Then I took it to typewriter before the internet, sent it off, had enough rejections to wallpaper my house, published it in 2006, back when independent authors were considered lower than the dirt on my shoe. So I've been out there for a hot minute. And it's important in our world that we support each other.
Oh, absolutely. And I will tell you, not everybody at Midnight Publishing does this, but there's a handful of us that are constantly giving out atta girls and pats on the back. I love the way the authors work and support one another.
And the others will eventually get there.
Yeah.
Because it's a new concept for some of them. Gwendolyn Law has sent me, and I found out about this through my daughter Brandy. Brandy reached out to Gwendolyn and said, "Hey chick, where are you?" Because she and Gwendolyn have been friends for 40 years. And Gwendolyn goes, "Well, I kind of retreated into myself, a lot going on. I created my own coloring book that has to do with domestic violence." And I said, "Brandy, tell that chick, where is it? I need to publish it because we can promote it in conjunction with her book, September Chill." Well, she sent it to me. It's next on my list after I finish with yours.
Sorry, Gwendolyn.
Not only did she do that, she finally completed her book of poetry that she has sent over to me. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we do. And I find out things. They think they can keep things from me, but oh no, I have spies everywhere. I'm not above using those spies because it is important. There was a meme that I put up the other day, and I think you read it, that said, "If nobody ever reads your book, it is the one legacy you leave behind." Now, I go all the way back to Edgar Allan Poe, who was one of my favorite authors. He died penniless. People said his books were too scary, too dark, too, you name it, they were too. Edgar Allan Poe was never given the credit he deserved for being a prolific writer.
But we still read his works today.
Case in point, he was married to his cousin. She got consumption. What Poe did while he sat with her watching her die, he wrote The Raven. Now, people say, well, The Raven is dark. Yes, it is dark. The whole point of that poem, which is my favorite poem in the entire world, Poe is asking, how am I going to grieve when she dies?
Yeah.
What am I going to feel? How is the pain going to be? How distraught am I going to be? Is there any more? Never more. Well, when she died, then he wrote the poem Annabel Lee in her honor.
Yes, that's one of my favorites.
So while Poe was not given credit for his works, his murder mysteries, Murder in the Rue Morgue. Now, if you've never read that book, I suggest you do, because you will never believe who done it. And I'm not telling. But his legacy was works that have been made into movies. The House of Usher, one of the first horror movie I ever went to see at 13 years old with Vincent Price, a classic movie, Edgar Allan Poe. So understand this. If you have a story, please do not put it off, because when you're gone, that story goes with you, except in my mother's case, because she told me about her story. So it's coming slowly.
The Enchanted Forest.
Enchanted Forest, with all of these children, grandchildren, who are creatures in the forest, and who knows where this thing's going to go. And that will be part of her legacy that lives.
This is what makes us immortal.
Exactly. And they're out there forever. They're out there for perpetuity. Because we know that the internet's not going anywhere. It's only going to get more advanced. And we also know that people are going to buy more and more off the internet. It's where we are.
It's just the way it is.
Mary and I have embraced, and y'all don't cringe, don't hold your hands over your ears, don't frown, and don't shake your head. Mary and I have embraced AI because of the graphics that I can create for her children's books using AI. I do 7-second shorts and put them up on YouTube. Mary, tell them the views that your shorts have gotten.
Well, the one for Too Many Rules has gotten 1,500 and counting, and it's only been up a couple of days.
Yeah.
The World's Best Grandfather, Yvonne put that short up yesterday, and it's already close to 1,000, 890 or something like that.
812, give or take, because I haven't been on lately. This was at 4 o'clock this morning. So what these little shorts do is I put them up on our Midnight Publishing site. I share them with all of my other Facebook pages, put it up on YouTube, then download it to our website. They're 7-second shorts, and they give the name of the book, the name of the author, coming soon or release date, and people's attention span is about that long.
Yeah.
The World's Best Grandfather,
838 views. I just checked it.
I put it up. It's a grandfather in a wooden swing with his granddaughter, and she's looking up at him with pure, innocent, just love. And you see them swinging back. There's no words. It's just movement. So when
he and she are just in love with each other, it's amazing.
It's amazing. Speaking of this book, before I go into why we do graphics, I don't know if you heard my live this morning, but this morning when I was promoting The World's Best Grandfather, this is what I said. How many of you have children who have grandfathers who are still alive? How many of you struggle over what is little Johnny or little Susie going to give Grandpa for Christmas? Well, guess what? That question has been asked and answered. What you do is you order the little book, and in the front of the little book, you write to Pop, to Grandpa, to Paw, whatever your child calls that grandfather, with love from Susie. Because this book talks about, through a child's eyes, the world's greatest grandpa, the world's best grandfather, why they are the world's best grandfather, who is the world's best grandfather, and bottom line, it's mine.
And what I was, when I had the idea for this, I met a man that when I said, hi, my name's Mary, what's yours, or whatever, and he goes, well, I'm the world's best grandfather. And at first I thought, well, how arrogant. But I found out he was a brand new grandfather. His first grandchild had been born, so he was over the moon. And within a day or two, I had started the idea for this story. And I wanted because he said the world's best. I wanted to take children on a tour of the world. And so Yvonne helped me bring this book to life in a way I never imagined. We have the names of what they call their grandfathers. Like down in Mexico, most grandfathers are just Papi. And I realized just now that I spelled it incorrectly. I spelled it like the flower, but who cares?
Maybe
It'll
that's
be
the way
okay.
the child pronounces it.
In Finland, they call their grandfathers Vari. And Sabas, I think, are Israel. That's a Hebrew word. But, oh, y'all, the image that she did for the American grandfathers, because I talked about how the grandfathers come from all over. You know, they speak in English and Chippewa, and I don't remember what the other ones were. So
Choctaw, French, and Hebrew.
yes. So she made it so that the one grandfather's wearing this beautiful red, white, and blue jacket, very spiffy, and then there are other grandfathers in the background, and it's got a little ethnicity being shown through their clothing and their hats. And Yvonne did such a good job capturing my thoughts in actual images, and it blew me away.
And that brings us back to don't be closing your ears, don't be closing your minds, and don't be shaking your head. Not ever going to happen with me. I'm going to use an illustrator. First of all,
Oh,
Mary will tell you illustrators run you 3,000 or better,
thousands.
thousands of dollars. Second of all, we have taken The World's Best Grandfather, Too Many Rules, If I Could Be a Butterfly, and when I do, If I Could Be a Giant. We have taken those, and I have a program I use where I generate AI graphics that look like photographs. And when I put those graphics with the words and I send them over to Mary, and she calls me up and tells me she's going to cry about having a heart attack, I'm going, oh shit, what have I done? Maybe I go back to the drawing board. And she said, no, every time I flipped a page, my hand automatically went to my heart.
I
Because,
honestly, this is not a lie, because I was looking at the book and I, oh, that's so cute. And then I take my hand down and I flip the page, and you know, flipping a page on digital is like clicking a button, but I would just
right.
move. But every single time, and my heart was just beating and beating and beating. I was so overcome with emotion, and every image was better than the last. And it was that way with If I Could Be a Butterfly too. Unbelievable. And so the last, I think it was the butterfly book, I sent Yvonne back my comments, because y'all, I'm an editor. That's just, my mother said I was editing cereal boxes when I was 4. So it's just who I am. It's what I do. I cannot stop it. It's really difficult not to edit and mark up things. So the last one that I sent to her, I said, well, I don't know if I'm getting more understanding or willing to let things slide, or if you're just getting better at doing the books. And she said, probably a little bit of both.
Well, the two things that you caught, that crazy Y that slipped by me, I'm glad you caught it. And then that other, I think it was a period or something. I mean, they were
Yeah.
minor. But
They were minor little errors, but I get it, because what happens is Yvonne becomes so invested in these books. And I say this from my perspective, but it's not just me. She does this for everybody. She gets so personally and emotionally invested in our work that sometimes she goes faster than she needs to. And that's
Well, when I
where
was
I come in. I can help out find
when
those
I,
little mistakes.
when I put your children's books together, the way I do it is I bring up the book. I bring up your manuscript and I go line by line. So let's go back to the butterfly. If I could be a butterfly, I would fly like a flower. First thing I did, I stop right there. I go to my program and I create that graphic. I download it. I don't do anything else with it. Then I go to the next one and I download all the graphics. Then I go back and I save the images as 8.5 by 8.5. Then I go back to the manuscript and put the images where they belong. So it's a 3-step process just for the first draft. And sometimes I download more than one image to get the image that I really think belongs on that line. Or I download images going, ooh, we'll use this later. Or while I'm looking for images or getting ready to download images, oh, that makes a great short. So I do the short. So this can go into a 5 or 6 step process before I ever put the book together.
And sometimes I'll look at the book and I'll say, I really like this, like with the grandfathers. I really like this, but these grandpas all look the same. Can we add a little diversity? And, I'd like to have a younger looking grandfather, not one that's 90 years old. And Yvonne already has these images stockpiled and saved so she can always swap them out whenever needed. And that jogging grandfather, if he was alive, he'd give Curtis a run for his money. He just looks like my kind of guy. Oh, the mothers are going to love reading this book too.
when I sent
And the grandmothers.
When I sent her the front that I wanted to use for the world's best grandfather, again it was the image of a grandfather and this grandchild. It's pure unadulterated love. Now, what
I liked about that image, and I didn't talk to you about this, was the scroll work.
Yeah, that's what drew me into it. Was it looks, I don't say old, it's antiquish. It's for the ages.
Yeah, it's just very classic, but yet not.
It's elegant.
It's very modern too.
Very elegant. So what
elegant, that's the word.
What I did, ladies and gentlemen, with the grandfather book, again, I take every line. So when I saw the line that said the Samoan, whatever they're called, with all their tattoos, I went and looked for that graphic. When it talks about the Australian, whatever that grandfather's name is, I went and looked for that graphic. So what you have in this book is not just the world's best grandfathers that you can imagine are from other countries. These graphics are true native dressed grandfathers doing what the line says, like the Finnish grandfathers.
I tried to make it so that it brings in a little culture, brings in a little ethnicity, and it shows that grandfathers all over the world are special. And that's how we ended the book, the best grandfather is the one that belongs to me. It doesn't matter
where.
Children don't care if their grandfather has a trophy.
Mm-mm.
They just have their love.
And this book can also be used as a history book because the Finnish grandfathers fish in the sea. The Russian grandfathers wear the furry hats. And it's a mixture of teaching your child early history and culture and
geography.
And understanding that every grandfather in the world who has a grandchild, that's the best grandfather.
Yeah,
And I know Mary's very proud of that book.
I am. You know, I remember when I helped Linda Humphrey get her book started, Cornfield Fires of East Tennessee. She said, "You've helped birth my baby." And she started calling me the book midwife. And she said, "You helped me bring my baby to life." Every one of my books is a child of mine. I didn't go through a 9-month pregnancy. Some of them I went through a 40 or 30 or 15-year pregnancy. But it was all in my heart and in my head. But each book is very special. And when the newest book comes out, it's like, oh, you're my favorite. And then I move on to the next one. And I've got, I think you counted 10 books.
We are up to 9 or 10 books. There will be 10 when I do If I Could Be a Giant. That includes
And
your adult books.
I still need to go with Angels. I just have to find the time to do it. And there are stories I need to remove from there and stories I need to add. And I need to clean up some of the mistakes I found. And also my journey with Angels. I've got to get those to you. And that way Midnight Publishing will have all of my books.
And then she will be
all
sending
of my
you-
already published books. I still have oodles. But this is something that I want to stress to people. Because I don't want you to okay, let me back up for a minute. When I first met Yvonne, I think your total of books was up to 17, 20
At that
years
time,
ago.
yeah.
And I was so, I guess intimidated is the word.
I'm sorry.
No, it was a Mary thing. It was a perception. I still hadn't walked into my own power. I still hadn't realized, and also I have a friend who was in my critique group for 15 years, and John, he writes under J.J. White. He has an agent, he has a publisher, but he's kind of slowed down writing because of some health issues. But the man is prolific. Me and the other 3 people in the group would be writing little short stories or poems or whatever, and John would come in and go, "I just published another book." And I'm like, where's mine? But I spent so much time with the little green-eyed monster, envious of other writers, that I didn't allow myself to actually do my own thing. And this is what I want to encourage others. Don't look at Yvonne's now how many books? 24 or at least?
At least.
Maybe more. But, her many books and me, I mean, most of what I've written has been in the last month. Because, in the last, I'll say 2 weeks. Tomorrow will be 2 weeks ago that Yvonne gave me a challenge. Send me what you've got. Send me your children's books. Let's get these children's books out there in time for Christmas shopping. Well, I already had those books. Some of them were complete. Some of them needed a little polishing. Some of them needed me to get to the end. That's a hard thing for a lot of writers, to get to the final line and go, oh, that's it. I don't need to add more. So, and Yvonne, she said, if you can get one that can be in hardback, great. If not, that's okay too. But I had most of these, there were 6 that I sent in the last 2 weeks. I have sent her 6 manuscripts. Now, they are, they're not giant books. They're small. They're 24 to 28
36
pages. One of them is 80 pages long. But most of them are short books, no more than 30. I think I have one, maybe 32 pages. But I write until the poem, the art, because I do typically write my children's books as poems. And I write until the poem it feels finished to me, and that's when I'm like, okay, then there we go, send that to Yvonne. 3 of them I sent to her in the first 24 or 48 hours because they were absolutely finished. All I needed to do to get my control issues under control. Oh, weird. But how to get a handle on my need to manage things. I had to read them one more time, make sure there were no grammatical or spelling errors, and I sent them. You might not have that already. Don't let don't ever compare your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 50. That's what I'm saying. Your book and you are unique and special, and I don't want you to ever feel intimidated or awestruck or dumbfounded by what somebody else is doing. Don't keep polishing it and polishing it and polishing it, thinking, I've got to make it a bestseller. It'll come when it comes. The point is you have a story. You want to get it out. And it doesn't matter if it's like Sherry Richardson. She had this dream of her chocolate lover's garden for years. But I've got so many books that I've started that I just need to finalize and get over. But then I've got a lot of short stories, like for my 1,000 words book, I'm putting it together. I am nearly done. I'm pretty sure I am. I'm going through all my files on my computer and making sure that I have all the stories that have exactly 1,000 words. And then when I've got that done, I'll move on to the next one. But I've got them all there. But that doesn't mean that you have a stash of books on your computer. Maybe you've just been thinking about one book. Write that one. And you will be amazed. Just like Gwendolyn. I think it was Gwendolyn. She had one book.
One book.
And then as soon as she got it out, she goes, oh, wait a minute. I've got another book I can get out. Oh, wait a minute. What about my book of poetry? So we all have more things going on than we realize. And I am the hardest person. I feel like a hypocrite when I say this. Because I've just learned this lesson, and you know how it is when you learn a lesson, you want to make sure it sticks. You have to trust the process, which means you have to trust Yvonne. You cannot, do not, please, I urge you, I encourage you, I beg you, don't send her your book and then go, well, you've got my book, but I let my uncle's cousin George's nephew's son-in-law's pool boy's brother look at it, and he didn't like it. So I need to make some changes. Once you send Yvonne your manuscript, let it go. Like in the old Frozen song. Let it go.
Let it go.
Because if you say, Johnny's brother's cousin's sister looked at a Kindle version of the book you put online. It didn't look right on her cell phone that's 50 years old. So I need you to take it down. Take everything down. Well, once you take it down, it's down. And then come back a couple weeks later and say, oh, I'm so sorry. Here's my hat in my hand. I'm so sorry. I made a mistake. You were right. I was wrong. If you do that, guess where you're going on the pile of books to be completed?
At the
All the way to
bottom.
the bottom.
And I don't like doing that because it hurts my soul to do that. Ladies and gentlemen, I have been in this business, and I cannot stress this enough. My first book I published through Lulu. And you want to talk about a pain in the royal ass?
And money down the drain.
And money down the drain, because Lulu is a pain in the ass.
It's a vanity publisher.
Well, you publish it yourself, but their setup will drive you insane. It will, and you have to purchase your own ISBN numbers. So when Amazon started doing what they were doing, and my publisher died a year ago, it was a God moment.
Oh,
An absolute God moment. And when Mary talks about letting your book go, trust me when I tell you, the more you mess with it, the more it comes back and forth to me, it gets out of line, things go missing, and it's a mind-blowing experience. Once you send me that completed manuscript, it's done. If it's a
I
rough
can give
draft,
you
don't
a
send
prime example. If I could be a mermaid, I wrote it and rewrote it and revised it and added and whatnot. There was a line in there, in one of my 10 or 15-year-old lines. It said, if I were a mermaid, I could play with guppies. But I'm just a little child and I prefer puppies. Somehow, that got left out of the version I gave Yvonne. Y'all don't know how badly I wanted to send her a new version because there were 2 lines missing. But because Yvonne had said, trust me, trust the process, and because she worked so crazy fast and had the book up within 24 hours of my giving her the dang manuscript, I was not going to say, oh, we need to add 2 lines in the middle of the book. No. If you realize that there's a problem, now maybe 5-10 years down the line, Yvonne will say, you know what, let's do a second version of your
And we
mermaid.
can. We can even do a second version next year.
We can do it whenever.
Yeah.
But it's not that important. Those 2 little lines, who cares? Don't obsess over your book. Don't get crazy. And don't make yourself crazy. And for God's sake, don't make Yvonne crazy, because I need her.
Well, I'm already insane. I couldn't go crazy.
Oh, man.
What we're both trying to say is there's a rule that I was taught many, many, many years ago when I worked in corporate America. Actually, there's 2 rules that I live by. 1, have you ever heard of the KISS method? It's called keep it simple, stupid. And when you keep it simple, then you don't get so down the rabbit hole that you get frustrated and quit. The second thing that I live by is work smarter, not
harder.
Because when you work harder, all you're doing is digging a hole. And you know what happens when you dig that hole so deep you can't get out? You stop digging. With every book that I have written, I know there's a stopping place. I know where that stopping place is. Is every book 300 to 400 pages? No. Are some books 177, 200 pages? Yes. My Cozy Murder Mystery, I think, is 177 pages. It's a quick read. Murder in the Village, I think 177 pages. A quick read. But it's so packed with humor
Action.
and drama and action and murder and all the things that you want in a book. It doesn't need to be 400 pages. I'm not filling up a book with unnecessary words. It's not happening. Number
No.
one, cost of printing.
And we don't need Tolstoy and Dostoevsky
No.
type books. Nobody reads them anymore. Nobody wants to spend that much time on a book.
My favorite question to writers is, how many ways can you describe a blade of grass? It was tall, it was short, it was green. 3 ways. It was brown, 4 ways. You don't have to spend 3 paragraphs and 12 pages describing a blade of grass. Let your readers use their imaginations. That's what books are about.
That's one reason I love the children's books, because I can keep the words simple, but I don't make them baby words.
No, you
If the
do not.
words, I use the words that I feel drawn to use, and if they're big words, mommy and daddy can help, grandma can help. I don't want them to get stuck. Like the the name for the Samoan grandfathers is like 4 syllables long. I don't even remember it right now. It's something like Takamanaku or something. And the Chinese names are a little difficult to pronounce. But somebody can read, and I've done this with my own children when we were reading books together. If I found a word I couldn't pronounce, I'd skip over it. I might say that the Chinese grandfathers just did this. Like the Japanese sofus bend at the waist. You've got the picture showing them bending over and bowing. Who cares if it's sofu or sofa or, well, I guess it wouldn't be a sofa. The Japanese couches bent at the waist.
So you go back to phonics. Reading is fundamental.
Yeah.
And you sound out the word. If you don't know how to sound out the word, take a minute. You have several devices at your hand. You have your phone, you have your laptop, you probably have an iPad. You put that word into a search engine and say, how do I pronounce this phonetically?
I love
And it will
it.
show you.
Yeah, you can hear it.
So what
They will
happens?
pronounce it for you.
What happens then is your child is learning another language. They are learning geographics. They are learning culture. Because the Samoans, their bodies are tattooed for a reason. It's not just because they like tattoos. Their bodies tell a story. So when your child says, Mommy,
I can
why?
hear little Johnny right now. Well, why are they tattooed from
Go look at her.
their waist to their thighs?
It's
And
the history.
Mom would be like, let's look it up. A good mom.
A
Say,
good mom.
Let's go look that up and find out. They go over to their computer and they look up Samoan tattoos. What is the symbolism?
This little book has so many things. The Australian grandfather is an Aborigines. Now you're going, what are you talking about in Aborigines? They were the first people in Australia before England went over and dropped their prisoners, their Scotch-Irish descents, and their political prisoners that fought against the kings and took over the country. The Aborigines were the natives of Australia. They have their own culture. It's fun to learn those cultures. If a child says, what about this grandfather from Palestine? Tell me about Palestine. Not only is that history, it's biblical history. The same thing with the Hebrew grandfather or the grandfather from Israel. All three of those. You also have, I think, an Arab grandfather in there.
And
They're
if you
all
notice, I put them side by side.
right. It's all. Look up the history. Teach your child the history of these different countries. This book is so multi-purpose, and so let's say little Johnny give this to grandfather for Christmas, and he says, "Read to me." Well, he and grandpa can learn some history too. And the cover art, both front and back, of all of Mary's children's books, If I Could Be a Butterfly, Too Many Rules, The World's Best Grandfather, are all AI graphics that look like photographs. If if I Could Be a Mermaid and Sharks Bite, Writers Write, it's AI graphics, but it's not cartoonish. We are getting completely away from the cartoonish, full page, in your face books because we want the child and the parent to focus on this much, just this much. It doesn't need background, just focus on this much.
And the back page of Sharks Bite, Writers Write says at the top, write your own story. And there are lines. So a child is encouraged. That whole book is to encourage a child to use their imagination, but also give them the freedom to write.
To write.
And even if you're not going to be raising the next Stephen King or Edgar Allan Poe, you're encouraging a child to write has many purposes. Whether they're writing by hand or typing or dictating a letter into, voice speak or text to type, whatever. People need to learn to write for a multitude of reasons. Whatever their job is down the road, nurses and doctors write reports all the time. Attorneys and judges are reading and writing a long list of information. Teachers need to write. Students need to write. You don't have to be a writer, an author per se, to write and to appreciate the skill that comes from writing. Writing encourages penmanship, which is a lost art, but it also encourages observation and good grammar. It encourages so many things, but I can't even think of them all right now. Discipline, organization.
It also, and because I live this, ladies and gentlemen, so this is not me just throwing something out there. If a teacher tries to discourage your child from A, using their imagination, and B, from writing, do not allow it to happen. Because when that child grows up, that child will lose the ability to dream.
Y'all, it is so important to dream and to use your imagination. I feel like if I wasn't doing, I use my imagination all the time, but the children's books give me the freedom to embrace my inner child and to be a little girl again. And my adult books, a lot of them are personal essays or journal entries. I bare my soul to you in my memoirs. And that vulnerability is healthy. It's very good for my mental health. But like in 1,000 words, I've taken a lot of journal entries and fictionalized them. Because I want them to feel like you're reading fiction and be entertained. You don't need to know all my dirty laundry. So, and this is how I clean my head out sometimes.
And also, ladies and gentlemen, it can be cathartic. When I wrote Dreamcatcher, Failure Was Never an Option, which is about my brother who's 13 months younger than I am, who's mentally and physically challenged. I'm the oldest of 5 kids. I grew up at 13 months old. When I wrote that book and sent each of my siblings a copy, the brother under this brother that's challenged called my mother crying. Now this is a grown man who doesn't read books. Called my mother crying and said, "Now I understand." Because you got to remember, this is in the 1950s. This book was very cathartic for my mother, for my siblings, for me, and because when I was writing the book, my brother asked Stanley, "How do you feel about Yvonne writing a book about you?" Now, my mother's a very private person. She didn't get it, but too bad. I said, "It's happening." And when she asked him that question, my brother, who may be physically and mentally challenged, is a whole lot smarter than some of the smartest people I know, said, "I am glad because now people will know how I feel." Profound? I think
Very
so.
profound. There's a young man, I think I've spoken of him before on Instagram. His name is Torin Wolf. He's got, they call it neurodivergency now.
Right.
But basically, he's a young man with autism. And his autism can be very debilitating at times. When he's triggered, he has to find a way to work around it. And he's also an eccentric young man, which all is part of the reason I just adore him. He likes to wear top hats and coats and capes, and he's a flamboyant and a cutie patootie at the same time. His mother also has later diagnosed autism. But Torin did a video just recently, and he was talking about how people perceive him. And it's because, a lot of people with developmental disabilities or physical disabilities, anything that's not normal, they sometimes have tics. And, maybe to calm himself, he pats his heart. Or he might just, shake his head. But he's one of these people that the physical stimuli is very important to him.
Right.
So he was like, if you see me just doing this all the time, it's not that I'm dancing inside my head and I'm not paying attention. This is how I pay attention.
Because what it does, it forces the brain to connect.
Yeah. And if anybody's ever watched anything that Tony Robbins does, he helps you understand that sometimes you have to snap yourself out of your overthinking by doing something bizarre. And that's basically what Yvonne has done to me. She snapped me out of my overthinking and I'm not going to call it a need anymore. My desire to have things as perfect as possible. By saying, "Mary, this is good enough. Mary, this is fine. Don't sweat small stuff. Don't try to make it like everybody else's book. You want to stand out, don't you? Just trust me. Trust the process. Let it go. Give it to me and walk away and do something else." Well, something else in my world looks like another book.
But look, okay, yes, she does this podcast with me. Yes, we talk all the time. Yes, if I send her something from Bonnie Clark, who we're going to talk about in a minute, and say, would you do this for me? she does it. She doesn't feel obligated. She doesn't have to do it. Nobody's chained her to her desk. She doesn't even have to overthink it. She just shows up. And now her brain, her mind is
It's free.
to do other things with her writing it. She's not drowning in quicksand of her own creation. And that's what we sometimes do as creators, whether it's photography, whether it's art, whether it's music, whether it's books. We get so bogged down in our own minds of, well, this doesn't look like so-and-so's. How come so-and-so's doing this and I'm not? How come?
Paranoia.
How come? It doesn't matter what so-and-so's do. You don't live your life by so-and-so.
And so doesn't pay my mortgage.
Right. You only value the opinion of others if that person matters to you. I learned that the hard way. People that don't matter to me, they're not worth an ounce of my attention. People that matter to me, understand I barely take direction. I'll think about suggestions. I do.
But don't boss me around.
No, don't micromanage me. Don't boss me around. Don't make me think, try to make me think I'm stupid, because I'm not giving you that permission. It took me a long time to learn. I'm enough. I write what I write. If you like it, fine. If you don't buy the book. Because my books are not for everybody. They're not. Especially my true crimes. If you want me to publish you, do what I ask you to do and then walk away from it. Because I'm going to tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. I publish my own books. If I'm not going to put my stuff up without it being right, I'm certainly not going to put your stuff up without it being right. No, not happening. In order for Mary to free her psychic up and to be able to be more creative, she had to let go of what she was worrying about in that computer. Well, I got to do graphics for this. Maybe I can tweak this just a little bit. Well, I got to do graphics for this. Ooh, maybe I need to add something. And it was bogging her down. I could see it. It was frustrating. It was almost like she was ready to quit. And I'm going, oh, no, honey, not today. Well, tomorrow don't look good either.
Me to quit. Too many books that I haven't even started thinking about.
Now she can. Because as in this industry, the general rule is, if you send your book to a publisher, it takes them 6 months to a year to publish it. Not here. I don't mind putting my own stuff on hold because I'll get to it. I want y'all out there. I want your minds freed. I want you to be creative. I want you to be excited. I want your heart to palpitate. You call me going, you just made me cry in a good way. Because this is your legacy. This is what you leave behind for your children, your grandchildren, your nieces, your nephews, kids you don't even know about. Someday, somebody down the road is going to say, my Nana did this. My aunt did this. My friend did this. And that's where we are with Mary, and I cannot tell you how proud I am of her.
And even farther down the road, some stranger's kid is going to go, I don't know who this Yvonne Mason is, but look at the pictures in Enchanted Forest. It doesn't matter if we go down famous or rich or whatever. The whole purpose of doing this is to touch others. And that brings us back to what we started the show with on service.
Yes.
Because, y'all, I was talking to a young man. guess he's not a young man anymore. He's in his mid-40s. Blows my mind how people get old and I don't even notice it. But, you know, this man was talking to me about editing his book. And he wanted to know how much it would cost him. And so I asked him where he was going to get it published. And he went through this long song and dance. Apparently, there's something called Royal Road, where fantasy authors can publish a chapter or two at the time. And if they get a following, and those people then become Patreons or patrons, which is what the old-timey people did in the 17th, 18th century, then they'll pay pennies, nickels, maybe a couple of dollars for you to send them the next chapter early. So they get to read it before anybody else does. Because everybody wants to be the first. And if there's enough following and if there's enough attention to his book, chapter by chapter, then maybe Royal Road will publish it for him.
Maybe.
Okay. Then what? Y'all, Yvonne promotes our books as much or more than she promotes her own. And I am madly, aggressively promoting myself. Yvonne, you know, I got another book now, If I Could Be a Butterfly. Let me tell you something. A word to the wise. If you have a lot of books up here or on your computer, take your time. Don't send them all to Yvonne at once. Don't send them to her every, a couple of days, because she's going to publish them, and then you have to promote them. I'm trying to promote, The Mermaids. I've gotten the rules published through August, November 15th. I've got promotions out for that. But I got to do Steep Steps and Sharks and Grandfathers and Butterflies, and soon, before I can even think, there'll be Giants. So don't do what I do unless you want to be working all the time. Because I am always on my computer creating posts and scheduling them through Canva so that they go out without me worrying about them. But I'm like the dog who's constantly chasing her tail. Every now and then I bite it and I go, yay! What do I do now?
Well, the thing is, when I was in corporate America and we had projects, my life is very structured. I'm on my computer sometimes way earlier than dark 30 because I don't sleep that much. And my project list, when I get a project done, I tick it off and move on to the next one. I had deadlines when I did projects. Mary didn't give me a deadline. I give myself deadlines. And my deadlines for all of the children's books that she sent me is to have them out no later than the 15th of November. And you know why? It's the silly season.
Yeah.
She didn't realize that when she let go, that she became more powerful, more in control. I drove her more insane because of the promotions. And then I did one better that she didn't even know I was going to do.
I know.
Too Many Rules and Sharks Bites was supposed to come out on the 10th. I did not know that she was going to have some events on the 8th. When she put that up, just as soon as it hit my feed, I went, In the middle of the night, this voice says, go change it. I didn't tell her I was changing it to come out on the 3rd. I just did it. Because
Because
she
that's what
needs
she would do for her own books. If
exactly.
she had an
Because
event she needed books printed for, she would raise her bar.
and then the grandfather book is coming out on the 3rd as well. I didn't tell you that one. In fact, it's locked. It is locked and loaded. I can't touch it because and you've got 4 copies coming that should be to you on the 8th. I hope they all come early.
I
But
think I think I saw a notice that I'm getting bound matter, which means books, today.
so but ladies and gentlemen, these are things and I'm not bragging. I'm trying to tell you the
How it
advantage.
works.
Yeah, I'm giving you the advantage of if you come with us. I treat every publisher, every author like I treat myself.
Let me tell you, I didn't ask Yvonne to accelerate the print
She
date
did
of my
not.
books
She didn't.
because I know she has certain things a certain way, and that would have been micromanaging. I don't need to do that anymore. I didn't tell Yvonne in a private message, I've got an event coming up. I wish I had my books earlier. I just made a post. I'm going to be here. And next thing I know, she's telling me, oh, you're going to have all your books ready. How many do you want? I better sell a lot of books soon because I'm running out of money. But, you know, the beautiful, beautiful thing about working with Amazon, instead of doing it the hard way like I've always done it up until I came on board with Midnight Publishing, you have to order in quantities in order to be able to afford your book and for your readers to afford your books. I ordered 500 copies of Go With Angels. And even when I get it online with Yvonne, I'm still going to have a lot of copies. Same with A Journey with Angels. I mean, I still have copies of Sally's. You know, Sally's Heart was done on Amazon. But my Angel book, I have copies. I just need to go to more events and sell them in person. And the beautiful thing about doing that is you get them signed. I can sign them, autograph them, inscribe them to anybody you want them to. And a lot of people like to meet the authors, so I go to author events.
With the Amazon publications, Mary says, I want 1 book. I want 2 books. That's what she gets. That's what she gets invoiced for. She orders them from me. I order them from Amazon. I drop ship them right to her door. And then I send her the invoice. But you can order from 1 to 999 books. There's no min or max as far as, we're not going to ship them to you because you didn't order 500 for breaking the books. That's not how Amazon works.
No, you get the built-in break price right off the bat.
What you're paying for with your author copies is the printing cost of the book. If it costs $4.20 to print that book and we upcharge it, say, to $12.99, that $4.20 goes back to Amazon for the printing cost because they're a business. But when I order author copies, they pay what it costs to print the book. That's all they pay for, plus shipping and taxes. You're not paying an astronomical price for books that will probably sit in a box somewhere.
That's my real legacy. When I die, my kids get all my unsold books.
So that's the beauty of doing what we do. also, when you go to a private printer, they charge you a setup charge plus the cost of printing. With Amazon, there's no setup charge. It's all digital. It goes up. If Amazon says, hey, stupid, you didn't do the... And this happened to me the other day when I was working on one of your books. I'm going, why does this cover look wonky? What am I doing? Well, I had pulled up the wrong template for the 8.5 by 8.5. I pulled up a 6 by 9. And Amazon says, you have lost your mind. So I said, oh, stop. This is okay. So I had to go back and fix it. Because number one, they won't publish it. Number two, it's shoddy work, and I would never do that. When I put a book up, I put the manuscript up, I put the book cover up. Then it takes me to a preview. And if it is outside of the scope of what they want, they will tell me, hey, dumbass, your graphics are overreaching. You got to go back and fix them. That's why when I do the graphics for the children's books, I know the book is an 8.5 by 8.5 finished product. I make those graphics 8.5 by 8.5 before I ever put them in the body of the book. And then when I put that book up, it's a clean book. There's no issues, because I found that out when I put up Cornfield Flyers of East Tennessee, Sally's Heart, and my Angel book. I had to go in and make all of those graphics 8.5 by 8.5. It is a process, but it is so worth it when it's clean. It's beautiful. You got the Little Mermaid book, right?
Yes.
That was another one that made her cry, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, she likes making me cry.
So, understand that I treat your book like it's my baby. And anybody will tell you, when I have little ones around me, they are very well protected, because nobody's messing with the children. I might put them in a plate and boil them with vegetables. No, that's another story. But
spoil them with vegetables.
Boil them with I like children in a pot with vegetables.
Spoil them. I was like, how do you spoil a child with vegetables?
Oh, I can spoil them with just about anything. But we do the children's books in what they call premier color. And the reason we do that is because they get distribution in more foreign countries. Amazon has stopped distributing, well, not Amazon USA, but other Amazons in other countries have stopped distributing the books from the USA for whatever reason. So if I want more distribution, I do it in premier color, and I do it in premier color so that A, it gets more distribution, and B, it's a cleaner graphic. And that's what we just like I asked Mary, do you want to blend in or do you want to stand out? So she's standing out now because we have become the pioneers in AI graphics in children's books and children's shorts. I expect people to start imitating us, which is the greatest form of flattery. We will see how that works out. And when I get home today from bowling, I will work on If I Could Be a Giant. And then I will work on Gwendolyn Law's coloring book, which will be an 8.5 by an 11, which makes it a nice size coloring book. Now, I hope it's more than 13 pages, and the reason for that, if it isn't, Amazon will kick it back. So she may have to send me more graphics. I will know more when I get in there. For a children's book or a coloring book, it has to be at least 24 pages for them to print it. I've had to use Mary's other books as fillers And I think on it might have been too many rules.
I think Too Many Rules and Grandfathers you did that on.
Yeah, but I put the graphics, but on one of them I also put another page that says describe why, and it might have been the grandfather book to make it have enough pages. Describe why the world's best grandfather or rule. But anyway, I had to add that extra page because it came up short, and I thought, well, it's a children's book,
Yeah.
and so when you send me children's books, understand that they have to be at least 24 pages. I will make them 24 pages. I broke up Mary's book, several of her books, the lines, and put graphics in so we would have enough pages. It's a process, and you have to trust the process. You have to have faith in yourself because you are enough. Is that not right, Mary?
Absolutely, 100% right.
So I'm going to go bowling, and you're going to do what you do and recover
I'm
from...
going to be marketing books.
and recover from a new book, If I Could Be a Butterfly, which is coming out on 11/10.
Crazy. Crazy.
I think Mary forgot how much she knew me when she sent me all those books. I don't know what she thought I was going to do with them. Say I'll get them out when I get them out.
Well, I figured there were other people ahead of me.
No, I had caught up with everybody when you sent me all those books. I had gotten to chapter 14 on duct tape, tarp, and a shovel. And I thought, oh, good. Now I can play some more. So here we are. So now you can go play.
Yeah, I can work with my. Once I get all my children's books post created, then I can start back on my adult books.
That is, if the voices in the head will let you.
Yeah, there could be another something churning in there that I don't even know about yet.
So, just to recap this live. This live shows up live on Off the Chain and on YouTube. When this live is over, I download it and put it up on the website. I put it up on all of the pages. You are enough. Never compare yourself to another creator, whether it's a musician, a photographer, an artist, a writer, because they're not you. You are unique because there's only one of you. People can imitate you. They can want your life, like some of the people here in the village. But they can't be you. They can't have your life. Midnight Publishing treats their authors like they wanted to be treated all those many years ago and was not. Trust the process. Been in this business for a long, long time. Just trust the process. Understand that Kindle is not a printed book. Kindle is an electronic device that does not understand white space and will run your chapters together because they don't use white space.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No. Because you're reading
most people who read on a device, they just want to read the book. They don't care if chapter 2 or 20 might come right behind the chapter in front of it, and that's okay. We want to just flip and go and touch the button and move on.
and move on. So
We don't need images. We don't need anything but your words.
So if just understand that Kindle is its own animal.
Yeah.
The printed book is, And your hardcover is put up different than your paperback. It's a still 6x9 print, but the cover is different because you have a wrap on the cover. Your hardcover is always going to be more expensive because the print cost is more expensive. We are always here, Mary and I both. We will answer your questions. Do not be afraid to put your words to paper. Just write. Just write something. And understand there's two words that we don't use here. The first one is
I
can't.
can't.
The second one is but. When somebody
I sit on my butt.
yeah, me too. When somebody says, I want to do this, but that tells me right there, they are not invested in what they're telling me they want to do. Yoda says, do or do not, there is no try. Think about that. So with that, if you got anything,
I think we have covered a lot of territory.
we have. Until next Wednesday at 10:30. We both wish you to have the day that you deserve. Look for our lives. Go to the YouTube channel. Go to the website. Follow us on our Facebook page, Midnight Publishing.
.org.
And keep your children's imagination explosive.
Yes. And
So
don't forget to let your own imagination explode.
That was something I wanted to talk about real quick before I close. As we grow older, we forget how to be imaginative. We stifle ourselves, or other people have stifled us. Don't allow it to happen. And with that, I will say I'm going to go bowling. I love you, my dear. Send me
I
more
love you.
pics. I will talk to you later.
I'll be right here waiting for your next magical transformation for me.
It's coming.
Take care, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.